I'm not the kind of person that can go from like zero contact to I like you. So these signs kind of gave me the confidence that I felt okay with being more like intimate with it.
Are you a single, shy nerd struggling to find a player too? If you're still trying to figure out the skills you need, here's a tutorial to get to the next level. Learn from experts and fellow nerds who found their partners, the mistakes they made, and how they still ended up together, with no cheat codes. I'm Alex Goldstein, and this is the Roll to Date podcast. Hi everyone, I'm Alex, and I help nerds with their dating anxiety. Today I bring you Jose, a nerd who found her player too, and we're going to talk about how they ended up together. The idea is to address some of your questions, dispel some myths, and hear about the many different ways that nerds can find real relationships. Jose, thank you so much for coming.
Okay, thank you for having me. Hi.
So I consider Jose a nerd because just like with Veer and with Lud, we met at the Tolkien Association. That was a very long time ago, I think over 20 years ago.
Yep.
And I mean, we've been close friends, I would say since then, but for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I brought her here to share the story of how she ended up with her partner. So, Jose, where does your story start?
Okay. I met Julian over 10 years ago. At that time, I was training Tae Kwon-Do, and my brother was training too, but he was with like in another club or something. And he met Julian there, my brother. He met Julian training Tae Kwon-Do, and they became very good friends. So we met through my brother, and at some point he had some like relationship issues where he was dating someone or he wanted to date someone. And then Julian. And my brother told him, why don't you talk to my sister? Because she's really good giving advice. So we started talking through like the Facebook Messenger, and I still have those conversations. So we started talking about that, and then we met because they were like three friends, both of them and a girl. And then when they met, they started inviting me, so we started talking more often.
So just to pause you there, so when he started talking to you about his relationship issues, had you already met him in person?
Yes, I think yes. I met him a couple of times.
And what did you think when you met him?
He's not my type.
Interesting.
No, nothing happened. I mean, I was dating other people, and yes, nothing. He was like my brother's friend. Nothing happened. He was someone on the background, let's say. And then we started talking more, and I was actually surprised when he texted me with like, hey, can you give me some advice on this? Because we didn't really talk that much. I knew him more through my brother, because he was like, he's a really nice guy, and they talked a lot, and I don't know, but I didn't really know him that much in person. Yeah.
So basically you saw him and you're like, not my type, just whatever, my brother's friend. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it.
He needs some advice. I'm going to give him some advice, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. And then I think after we started meeting like more frequently, just because they used to meet like frequently, and they started inviting me, not because he wanted, but like Paula, our other mutual friend, she wanted to invite me because she was like, okay, these guys are talking all the time about technology and I don't know, guy things. So let's bring someone else. And we all trained to get like kind of together. We were doing the same thing. So then we started like seeing each other more often. And at that time, we were both doing, I think it wasn't like not a challenge as now challenges exist. It was like 12 years ago, but it was the whole 10,000 steps. Let's walk 10,000 steps every day. I don't know why we were both doing this. And I had a dog. Mora. You
Yep.
remember Mora? So at night or maybe like at the evening, we would like he would text me like I have to do more steps. I can join you when you walk Mora. So he would join me, and we started like seeing each other 3 times a week at least. And we would walk for way over an hour, maybe like for I don't know 5 kilometers. I mean, it was.
So do you know if when he reached out to go walking, do you know if he actually, like, I don't want to say he had ulterior motives, but like, do you know if it was just to go for a walk or if it was looking for something more? Do you have any idea?
I know that at some point he thought like, okay, she looks nice. He kind of liked me, but he wasn't like trying to start anything at first. We were just friends, and we were getting to know each other, and we just enjoyed our company. And it was at first, I think it was pretty innocent as you can be when you're over 30 and doing. But it was pretty innocent. We were just friends. We actually really enjoyed being with each other, and we were just that getting to know each other. He was with. I was dating other people. He was dating other people. We were. It was kind of innocent. He knew before I knew that he liked me, but it was. I think it was at least a year after we started seeing each other that much. But yeah, no, we didn't have ulterior motives, I think.
So both of you were dating, and it was just, hey, I need to get my steps in. You're nice to talk to and to hang out with. Let's just go for a walk and get the steps in.
Yeah, exactly. And so we would do a lot of things together. So we were walking together, but then if there was a festival or something or an event, we would just like go together. He was a pretty close friend of mine, like other friends I had. Um, so we would do a lot of things together. And then my friends were like, hey, what's going on there? And I was like, nothing. I mean, he's just a friend. And it became a whole thing of my friends saying there was something like between us. And I was like, no. And they were like, why do you don't want to say it? Just like tell us there's nothing wrong with you being with him. I was like, I'm not. We're just friends. And then at some point, when I finished my degree, Paula and Bir, the one you interviewed, they wanted to throw a party for me. They didn't know where to do it. So they told Julian, okay, we're throwing Jose a party and it's going to be at your place. So just be ready. It's going to be tick, 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 tick. And he got really involved in the organization. And we threw a huge party with all my friends at his place. And that was like a couple of days before I went on a big trip. And I remember on that trip I was with Bid and with one of my cousins. And during that trip, I was like, I found myself like texting him all the time. And even like we went to Machu Picchu, and then when we came back to Cusco, I got internet, and the first thing I did when we got back like internet again was texting him. And I remember telling my cousin like, okay, this is it. I think you're right. I'm really into him.
Like you're texting him before your parents, before your brothers, before any other family member.
Yeah. No, and the things we were talking like all the time. Like I was walking on the street to work, and I would text him, and in the middle of the night, maybe before going to bed, he was the last person I talked to, and we were like all the time talking. At this point, there were already some. I think I was feeling something, but that was when I thought, okay, he's my friend. What if something happens and I don't like it, or it doesn't work, and which I just lose this, and I really cherish him.
Let's go deeper there with that, because that's
okay.
When it comes to going from friends to relationship, I often find like there's several things that fears that can happen. One is, am I stuck in the friend zone? Like, does the other person only see me as a friend and they don't want anything else? And I just realized that I like them. The other thing, which is what you're saying, is what if?
Yeah.
What if I tell them that I like them, but they don't like me? Right?
Yeah.
Is that going to ruin the relationship? Now, what if I tell them that I like them, they like me back, and we start dating, and then it doesn't work, and then I end up losing a relationship plus my best friend?
Yeah.
Those are usually the sort of like the fears when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Wondering
Exactly.
where were you? Like either one of those or something different?
Okay. I didn't fear the whole friend zone thing. I don't think. But I guess because we were friends at first and we were both like, let's say it in the friend zone if you want. Um, but we, in really subtle ways, we ended up like leaving that. I had a lot of fun listening what you recorded with Pete about the signs that you give someone. And I think with time, um, we ended up from like, or saying like, okay, bye, see ya with the hand. We ended up like kissing on the cheek or maybe hugging and like then hanging on that hug. Or maybe we were walking, he will like hold my back. Um, there was more like physical contact. So we ended up like having some signs things that I don't do with everyone. I mean,
Oh, kissing on the cheek,
one thing is
yes.
to, yes, but I mean, it was, it was like a step that there was something that was building between us, or maybe hugging. Yes, I do. I'm a hugger, but it's like you even a huge hug, and then we will like look each other in the eyes and maybe hug again, or I don't know, a lot of things like this that could mean nothing, but I think looking back were the things that I was like, I'm not the kind of person that can go from like zero contact to I like you. So these signs kind of gave me the confidence that I felt okay with being more like intimate with him. Nothing else happened before we started dating, and obviously, because that's when you start dating.
Yeah.
But there were some things that were happening that and the talking all the time. It was a lot of things that were like building up. So I wasn't afraid of the whole friend zone thing. I think I was scared of what would happen if I could ruin that relationship. I also felt it was mutual, so I wasn't scared that I was the only one into it. I felt it was mutual.
Okay.
I didn't think I was making that up in my head. It wasn't like just me. Um, and so I wasn't scared of that. And I remember something your mom told me. I think actually your mom told you and you told me. And somehow you ended up talking to your mom about this.
About what?
About me not being sure if I wanted to be with Julian or not. And your mom said something like, okay, it's quite easy. I mean, um, if she feels attracted to him, like physically speaking, then it's going to be okay. What's true in there? If you're not sure if you feel attracted or not, you can, eh. But if you feel like that attraction and you are already friends, it's like, it's easy. So thanks to your mom,
Okay.
I'm dating Julia. Yeah, no, and she said something. I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense.
So basically what she said was, if you're friends and you're both attracted to each other, then it should be fine. It's that kind of what she said?
Yeah. Yeah, and at some point it was already like, I don't want to miss this just because I'm afraid of what could happen. I mean, I think at some point, if you like someone, uh, it's kind of, you're already missing it if you don't try it. You don't want to be friends with someone you like. So it was all of this like playing in my head. At first, I was away. I was in Peru, so it was easy for me to like back up and think a little bit.
But so your fear was to Well, because you said you didn't think you would get rejected because you thought you were both on the same page. So your fear
Yeah,
was
I
that
think
you
so.
would like start a relationship and it wouldn't work, and then you would lose the friendship as well, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, he was also away somewhere. I think he was in the States while I was in Peru, and then when we both were back in Buenos Aires, and we met, um, he had brought me like a gift from his trip, and I also brought him something. I don't. There was a whole thing, and at that point, I already knew that I wanted something more. And this was, I think, by the end of April, maybe, or mid-April, and May, by the middle of May, we were already dating.
And what happened?
Yeah, how it happened. So we kept on this thing of seeing each other all the time, and at that point there was more like physical contact. This like if I had to, we were crossing, walking like in the house or somewhere, we would like there would be more like touching, or maybe I would like hold him, and just to when I was going by, or we would hold hands
You
or
would
things
you would
like
hold
this.
hands. Okay,
I think so. It was
that's not very I don't know, friends thing to do, at least in Argentina.
no,
I mean, like
exactly. I
we've
mean,
never
but
done
at
it,
that
so
point, no, of course, it's not
yeah.
the thing. I mean, maybe or walk like grabbing his arm or something. There are some things that you would do only with something that you have that you trust a lot, that you're kind of intimate, not maybe in a sexual way, but that you're intimate. So I was like now consciously building on that, and he was doing it too. I think I don't know if he was doing it on purpose or not, but he was doing it. And one day I had to work late, and then we wanted to watch a movie. So he downloaded it and he waited for me with dinner at his place. And we watched a movie, and then he walked me home. And we were like, at that point, it was like, okay, there's something's going to happen here. And it was a long goodbye at my door, and he ended up kissing me.
So
And
I'm guessing that kind of like the long goodbye. Do you know if he already said like before meeting you, like, okay, today I'm gonna make it happen,
I don't
or it just
know.
felt like
No, and I don't know, but I think um, it wasn't something like it wasn't unexpected for any of us, and I was making it easy for him. Also,
oh,
I wasn't expecting him to be. I didn't never expected him to be like just one day come and give me the roses. I don't know. I I I never expected that. And I would say when something like that happened with someone in the past, I felt kind of uncomfortable. It's like you're making this out of nowhere. It's like for me at least, huh?
can you explain a bit more of what you mean? Like you mean like someone like being just friends and out of the blue showing up with like, hey,
No,
I like
on
you,
a
or
date. If you're no, if yes, I mean on a date or with a friend, someone like you're just there and you're talking and they kiss you and it's like, hey, what happened there? Hold on. Okay, this is my personal space. Or that, or someone that I assumed was a friend and suddenly came and it was okay, I like you, and I'm okay. I never saw that coming. So it was easier for me this way that we liked each other, and it wasn't like a huge thing. We were friends for a long time, but when once like something started building up, it was a couple of months, I think. And I think that whole like make it easy for the other person. It's, this being like having some physical contact, and we are like, I don't know, closer together or grab his arm when we were walking. And I remember when we were at that, like arriving to my building, he would hug me. And I when we let go, I just stayed there pretty close to him. So it was easy for him to kiss me. It wasn't like, okay, hug you. Okay, see you. Bye. So that's making it easy. I think I wouldn't have felt comfortable, like given the first step. I wouldn't have go and kiss him.
So there are two things that I'm finding that relate to previous interviews that I did. One is, and just to stay on the same topic, an interview that I did last week that it's not published yet, but it's going to be by the time this one comes out with Steven. He met he was from a small village. So basically, he had always known that his now partner existed, but they actually met like when he was like 14, and they were close friends until when he was like 19 or 20. And when he was telling the story, he was like, "Oh, I just brought her home, and then we kissed and we started dating." I'm like, that sounds very easy. Like, and I had to start digging more. And it's kind of what you're saying, right? So like they started like feeling more comfortable being together. Plus they were German, so they don't have, we have a very, very short distance of personal space.
Yeah.
They have a bit more. So for him, he was like, well, like we were like more comfortable, like sitting closer and whatnot. You're talking about like actual physical touch.
Yeah.
This is what, and I don't really like pickup artist advice and whatnot, but it is true that you kind of have this sort of like barrier with certain people, most people, I would say, and you have to break a bit of that barrier, not break it, but at least start making it closer and sort of match where the other person is. Right. Some people want to go faster. Some people want to go slower. So you have to be very careful with that.
I think that you said something like breaking the barrier. I think some people usually feels like it's such a big deal because of course you feel anxious and you don't know what's going to happen, and you have all like the butterflies and the whole thing. So making a move, you like overthink it, and I get it. I mean, I'm that kind of person. But the thing is, usually when we like start building that up in our heads, it's like breaking the barrier has to be a big thing. I know it's like, okay, so if you want to like, you don't want to be friend zoned, then you have to go and kiss her in the middle of the party or something. And it's like, that never works because it's a little invasive. It's like, no, it can be a little too much to handle. And I think for a lot of people, it's easier to like be digging little holes in the barrier, not breaking it. Just like, let's see what happens, no? And it's easier for the person that's doing it. And even if the other person is not like, hasn't realized yet what's going on, or if you don't know if the other person, it's like, has those feelings back, it's easier to build on that than to just go like with the full thing.
You said it doesn't work. I would argue it does work with certain people. The catch is...
yes, of course.
The catch is it doesn't necessarily work with people with whom you would be compatible with.
That's a good one.
Because if you're that type of person, great for you. I don't think certainly that's not me or you, and no. I don't think that's my audience. And so part of the issue that I find is if you follow that advice of just go for it and whatnot, and if it works, then you're getting into something with someone who's not a good match for you. Because you're doing something that's not part of who you are, and that's not part of for like the person that you want to be with, right?
Yeah, but I get it that it sometimes it feels like it's like a defensive thing, maybe. and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to explain it, but I think it's like kind of defensive. It's like, okay, I'm going to, it's like going to fight mode,
Yeah.
you know? It's like I'm going to do it and I'm doing it once. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's like just, I'm, it's trying to get out of that situation, of that tension that might be kind of uncomfortable at one point. I mean, even if you like someone, sometimes it can feel uncomfortable not knowing if the other one wants to, and you have to be okay with being withholding onto that tension that is building up with someone when you like each other. It's a little tense, and that tension, it's okay, it's part of it, and being comfortable with that, it's i I think for some personalities, as you said, is necessary. Not like forever, of course. I mean, you have to be comfortable with other things also, not all the time like, oh. But there's less tension, but it's easier to hold on to it than if you're like just doing one move, one big move.
Well, I mean, you and I was just remembering this now that we're talking. You have seen my whole process, right?
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I considered physical touch to be sort of sacred.
Okay.
I considered that like kissing, like big hugs or long hugs, caressing, whatever it is. It was a very romantic and a very deep thing to do. And so I didn't want to do it with anyone other than a partner. The catch is, like we're saying, I was not going gradually.
Yeah.
And I was so bad that I did not want to send kissing emojis through text. It was that bad.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, like it took me a long time to be like, okay, there's kissing emojis. It does not mean that they like me, because
Yeah.
to me it was like 0 or 100, right? And so the way
Yeah.
that I sort of like worked on that is now I touch everybody all the time.
Okay.
Period. Like
Yeah.
not inappropriately, but like on the shoulder, and like men, women, no, whatever it is, like on the shoulder,
Yeah.
on the arm, whatever it is. We were having a discussion here a few months ago. There was a festival and like a convention, and someone sent on a WhatsApp group that some women were being made feel uncomfortable by what some of the guys were doing, and I mentioned that they didn't say what it is that the guys were doing. So like it could be me, it could be a friend. I have no idea because they didn't say what they were doing. And I was at a table with friends and I was like, they should have said exactly what it is so that we all know exactly what's wrong, because
Yeah.
we have people from all over the world here, right?
Exactly. That's the thing.
And just as an example, there was a girl from Ukraine and I was like, how do you feel about physical touch? And she's like, well, if it's friendly, it's fine. Okay, define friendly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shoulders, that's fine. Upper arm, that's fine. Knee, no, that's too much. And next to me
Yeah.
was a Mexican with whom we built a really good rapport. And I was like, what do you think? And I just like put my hand on her knee, and she's like, that's fine. I did it because I knew it
Yeah.
was fine with her, right? Like I wouldn't do it with just
Yeah.
anybody.
Exactly.
But it's a complicated thing, right? Like I have heard of
Yeah.
Spanish or Italians in other countries where they get called by HR because they're harassing people, and for them it's like
Yeah.
it's normal. Like we kiss on the cheek, like one kiss.
Yeah.
Other countries do like 3. In Canada,
Yeah. Now in Spain here they do 2
yeah,
cases. Well,
in
so
Canada I
yeah.
learned to do this.
Yeah.
And then I got back to Argentina,
Yeah.
and I was kissing everybody. I'm like, oh, this feels so great. But
Yeah.
so
And the thing is that usually for me, even with my friends, I feel way more connected with someone when I have some kind of physical touch. So when I would say to my female friends, it's like, okay, I go and hug them and just sit close by, and maybe if we're walking and maybe we're watching the children or something at the park, and I will go and hug them. and that's okay with me, and I feel connected, and I kind of like I thrive on physical touch on that way.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I'm close to someone. And I get it that for a lot of people it's not okay. And this, so you have to know your people. And usually when you live around other cultures, other backgrounds even, because maybe it's not even, I mean, you can go like in the micro scale. And for some people, that's not okay. So it's nice to be able to see, you have to read how uncomfortable the other person is or not. And I'm not sure in the context of like trying to date someone, but I think it's also okay to say, hey, I'm a hugger. Is that okay with you? I'm usually I say
Yeah.
hi like this. No, and so maybe not in this context because it would be weird, but
Well, but like even in the same culture, like when I was in high school, I had this major crush on a girl, and it took me 20 years to tell her that. And it was during the pandemic. I would just somehow got in touch again, and I mentioned to her, I was like, like I've always had a crush on you. And she's like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, fuck. What happened was that, I mean, from her side, at one point we were chatting with someone else. It was three. It was her, myself, and someone else. I don't know how it was going on, and she just gave me a big hug.
Yeah.
This was before I was comfortable with that stuff, and I was afraid of misinterpreting it, because to me that was a big deal. And so I
Yeah.
freaked out and I like pushed her away, right? Because to me it was like,
Yeah.
she's giving me a hug. This, in my head, if it kept escalating, could lead to a kiss, but we have someone in front of us. I don't want to feel too comfortable with this situation and try to keep going with it if like there's someone else. So I just freaked out and I just like got out of the hug. She took it as, oh, he doesn't like me.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. I think it's really important. I mean, if you're on a first date with someone you just met and you try to give them a hug and they push you away, I mean, it's one thing. But usually when you are meeting someone, when you're it's a friend, someone close to you, or even someone that you're like into a couple of dates, you can just grab one sign and like pretend that's is everything.
Yeah.
That cannot define the relationship. I mean, maybe that person wanted you to kiss her, but not in that
Yeah.
context. Maybe like what happened to you. Maybe it was like not. I don't know. Maybe you were there. There's so many things that come into account. So I get it. It's really hard because when you feel rejected, especially when you
Yeah.
feel rejected, um, it's really hard to try again because it hurts. But I think it's so important to try to I usually say like you put this on a shelf and then you have to like back up and watch the whole picture. I mean, how's everything going? But you cannot with one
Yeah.
thing that happens think. I mean, and this applies to like everything in life. I mean, everything, every relationship. We were not mind readers. You have to like communicate, and you're communicating with like your words and even say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want you to make you uncomfortable with this hug. You don't have to say, I'm giving you now a hug tomorrow too, then I will kiss you. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, I didn't want you to feel uncomfortable or something. And just that, and that's okay. And you can like next time go maybe softer and communicate in other ways, texting something, you can use like the physical touch in other ways and build on that and check how the other person feels.
I think that's the most important part. Like
Yeah.
often when you read the advice from like most dating coaches that say like if you touch them and then if they touch you back and whatnot, sometimes it's not that they touch you back because they might be shy or frozen. But
Yeah.
it is trying to figure out if they are comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
Like if they move away, that's clearly that
Exactly.
they're uncomfortable, and just like
Yeah.
either stop there and or back up or try again later at different contexts, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
I do think that physical touch is a very touchy topic.
Yeah.
And it has to be done with lots of care. That's why usually my advice is always just to say it. Like just
Yeah.
say that you like someone if you're not sure how to sort of like move forward physically,
Yeah.
or if you're too anxious about it. Like if you just want to know, then just say it.
Yeah. I guess it works different for different
Yeah.
people. But I think it's nice to think about all this as like kissing someone or like start dating is not that the goal. I mean, it looks like the goal, but truth is that it's not. You don't want like that 5 minute thing to be the whole like the
Some people do. That's not what we're here
the big
for.
thing. No, no, no. Of course, exactly. I mean, when you're trying to start dating with someone and build a relationship, the thing is, it's not like you start building that relationship after the first kiss. Like, okay, from the first kiss back, we will just erase
Yeah.
everything. You're getting to know that person. So if that person doesn't feel okay with you being like very physical in public, it's good that you know that because that won't change when you start dating. I mean, that's the thing. So if you're not hugging her in public before you start, you won't kiss her in public then. So it's not like we are building just for that one kiss.
Yeah.
No, so it's a way of knowing someone. And I think that's why usually for me, I think that being not being friends, but getting to know someone before starting
Yeah.
dating, I think it works wonders be- because of that. Because you actually know what you're getting into, and you know someone, and it's not like okay, from now on we have to start with everything. You just know them, so in that process, you might find that the other person that you thought you liked that much, maybe it's not okay for you. So I think it's always good to be like testing, if you will, with a lot of air quotes, all these things in advance, because those are going to be like tools that you will actually need when you're into the relationship.
Not just a testing. There's this author called Robert Glover. His books, I'm not going to lie, they're quite sexist. They have lots of things like women like this, men like that, blah, blah, blah. But I did find it really useful, the concept that he has of testing for interest, which is
Okay.
basically invite someone to have a conversation. Are they interested in having a conversation? Invite someone to go for coffee. Are they
Yeah.
interested in going for coffee? This is that, like you were saying, like testing, right?
Yeah.
Like I touch them on the shoulder. Do they want to be touched on the shoulder? Are they interested in like sharing that let's say physical contact?
Yeah.
And it's a concept that I really like because it doesn't put the emphasis on the result; it puts the emphasis on the testing. It's okay. I
Exactly.
want to see if they are up for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And it's like uh it's a two-way thing because maybe you think if you're someone who likes to like lay down and go to the movies and play board games, and the other person really likes to like run and
Bungee jumping.
go to picnic, yeah, it's like okay, maybe it can work anyway. I mean, maybe you can like join somehow, like make it work. It's not bad. You don't have to like the same things, but you do need to know if you like them or not, if you can enjoy your time together while you're doing one thing and the other one doesn't. So all that, it's like information you're adding to this relationship that might end up in a like romantic relationship. But if it doesn't, it's okay. You're getting to know someone, and it doesn't have to be like a year-long thing. It's like you can just share a couple of weeks and this trying to do things that you really like, because I also think that gives like a pretty honest and transparent image of who you are, and you want the other person to actually like you that way, as the person that you are, not as someone trying to like someone else.
Totally. I love it. So just to wrap up, apart from be yourself, because it's an advice that I hate, based on our conversation, what advice would you have for single nerds who are looking for a player too?
Yeah, I think that this like building the things slowly. I think that would be a good one. I mean, if you're not the type of person that usually goes from 0 to 10, or like then building things slowly and checking how you feel with that, how the other person feels with that, building conversation, building the activities you do together, building physical touch, building even how intimate conversations feel with that other person. And because at first you start talking about like the weather, and then you can go like a little deeper. So building it up like at your own pace and checking on the other person, I think that might work for some people.
I love it. Thank you, Jose. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, thank you. This was nice.
Do you want a cheat code to level up? Listening to more episodes will help you learn the skills faster. So make sure you follow the show.